Let me tell you of the days of high adventure.
Hey there nation, welcome to the show where we help you to play miniatures wargaming on a budget. It is I, Commander CheapSkate, and we are back with another episode of the Golden Age, our weekly series of Warhammer Fantasy Battle Reports. This is Battle Report number 77, and it's another Warhammer Roulette Battle Report. And in case you're unfamiliar how Warhammer Roulette works on this channel, what ends up happening is that I roll for three values. I roll a die to figure out what army I'll be playing against. I roll a second die to figure out what army I will be playing in this battle report. And I roll a third value to figure out how many points I'm playing at. So my opponents are completely random, same thing with my army that I'm playing, and same thing with the point value that I'm playing at as well. Kind of adds some variety to our Warhammer channels. So when it comes to playing the point value, we go anywhere from 2,000 to 2,500, 3,000 points, and this one ended up being a 3,000 point battle report. I'm going against my buddy Brother Grimm of the Immortulz. He's bringing a 3,000 point Orcs and Goblin army, while I'm bringing the Legion of the Hellmouth, a 3,000 point Ogre Kingdoms army. So we're going to play some background music real quick. If you want to see exactly what we're bringing for this one, go to pause and take a look at your leisure as we go through each of the army lists. So with that being said, let's get this battle report on a roll.
Crom, I've never prayed you before. I have no tongue for it. No one, not even you, will remember if we were good men or bad, why we fought or why we died. No. All that matters is that two stood against many. That's what's important. Balor pleases you, Crom. So grant me one request. Grant me revenge. And if you do not listen, then the hell with you.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, dying times here.
Alright, so let's go talk about the scenario rules for this one. The scenario we're playing is Battle Line. It's got standard deployment as well as standard victory conditions as always. So with the scenario rules over, let's go and talk about the battle plan real quick. So here's an overhead shot of the entirety of the battlefield. As you can see, Brother Grimm and I are playing on a 4x6 table. Brother Grimm is deployed on the near side of the table, while my forces are deployed on the far side of the table. And as you can see in this photo, we're just pretty much just kind of lined up right against each other like in a straight line format. He's playing Orcs and Goblins, I'm playing Ogre Kingdoms, and the tactics for armies is not exactly all that complicated. We just got to rush across the battlefield as quick as we can and try to kill each other as quickly as possible. You can see in this video, this picture, that's exactly what we've done. We just kind of line up against each other and get ready to square off. The only things I'm really worried about in his army really are basically two things. I'm worried about his fanatics on his goblins on his flanks. So you can see there he's got his goblins on his flanks this time. So I have to worry about fanatics coming into my flanks, destroying my stuff. At the same time, I also got to worry about his huge old unit of black orcs, the Immortulz, a unit of 39 black orcs in a horde formation. He's also got, I believe he's got the Razor stand in that unit as well, I believe, or some kind of magic banner. But he's also got Gringor Ironhide in this army as well. That's the special character that has the Locus of Gur ability, which is a bound spell, and if he gets that spell off, he gets +1 strength and toughness to all Orcs and Goblins and friendly Orc Kingdoms units within 12 inches of him. And let me tell you, going up against a huge horde of Night Goblins that are strength 4, toughness 4 is no walk in the park. So that's the only thing I'm really worried about for the most part. So my plan here is to hopefully pop his fanatics on his left-hand flank by using my 2 saber tests in order to do that. That exposed left-hand flank, I think, can rush it with my Mornfang Cav and destroy him that way. Same thing, and blast him apart his Orc units, well, with my Powder Gangers as well, and same thing with my Iron Blasters. They can just blow them apart and hopefully do some coordinated charges with my Iron Guts as well as my Ogre Bulls and Mashaf, the Star of the Steppes, my Stonehorn. Hopefully I just can finish them off that way. And that's pretty much kind of the plan I'm going with on this one. Alright, so let's go and talk about the plan real quick for the Immortulz. So over here on the left-hand side, we have those sneaky gets. It is a unit of 20 Night Goblins with full command. They're equipped with short bows. They also have 3 fanatics as well. Also right next to them on the right-hand side, that is the Ludas. It is a huge unit of 28 Night Goblins in a horde formation with full command. They also have short bows as well, and they're also equipped with 3 Night Goblin fanatics as well. Also in that unit too are also 2 Goblin heroes. First one is called Hobgrob the Stinka. He is a Goblin big boss. He's also the army's battle standard bearer. He's got a great weapon, light armor, and shield. He's also packing the spider banner, giving them poisonous attacks for their unit. At the same time, he also has in that unit the Shrieking Shroomhead, who is a Night Goblin Shaman, level 2 lore of the Little Wa. He's got a Dispel Scroll as well as a Terrifying Mask of E, giving that whole unit terror, which is actually kind of intimidating, all things considered. And in the center of his armor is where most of his points are located at. On the left-hand side, that is a huge unit of Black Orcs called the Immortulz. As you know, 39 Black Orcs of full command. They're armed with a huge array of weaponry, and they also have the Immortulz upgrade. Giving them +1 to their weapon skill also gives them unit psychology as well as hatred. And that unit also has the Razor Standard, giving their armor piercing +1 to the armor piercing roll. So because of that, these guys are just really kitted out to just can opener some fools. Over on the right-hand side is another unit. That is a huge horde unit of Orc Biggins. That one is called the War Boys. It consists of 39 Orc Boys of full command. They got Biggins upgrade. They're equipped with hand weapons, shields, and lead armor, and they also got the standard of discipline in that unit as well. Also leading that unit too is Ruga the Stunty Flare. He's an Orc Shaman. He's got the level low lore of the Big Wa. He's equipped with Fencer's Blades, giving him weapon skill 10, Talisman of Endurance, giving him a ward save of 5 up. He's also got the Crown of Command, making that unit stubborn as well. I forgot to mention this as well. On the left-hand side of the Immortulz, we have Grimgor Ironhide, the Incarnate of Beasts. He is the special character from the End Times rule books. He's also the general of this army as well. So, needless to say, I am absolutely terrified of those two horde units of orcs, because those guys are very, very dangerous. And finally, on the far right-hand side of the battlefield, we have the rest of his units. On the left-hand side, that is the Backstabbers. It is a unit of 20 Night Goblins full command. They're equipped with short bows. They also got 3 Night Goblin Fanatics next to him. Right in the right-hand side, right there, right next to him, that is Undead Fred Endaloon, which is a giant. So that this armor is also packing a giant on this one. And on the top of the tower there, those are them Kamikaze Boys. As you have 2 Dewdiver Catapults. And that rounds up my opponent's 3,000 point army on this one. Alright, so let's jump across the battlefield and talk about deployment for the Legion of Hellmouth, my 3,000 point Ogre Kingdom's army. So over here on the far left-hand side, that is a unit called the Beastclaw Raiders. It is a unit of 4 Ogre and Mornfang Cavalry with full command. They also have hand weapons, iron fists, and heavy armor, as well as packing the standard discipline, giving them a leadership 8, because in previous battle reports, not having a higher leadership for these guys has really, bit me on that one. Next to them on the far right-hand side, that is a huge unit of 8 Lead Belchers called the Powder Gangers. They have a Bellower, they're equipped with hand weapons, Lead Belcher guns, as well as light armor as well. And then in front of them are my 2 Saber Tusks. We have Romana, the Blood Tracker, as well as Dokana, the Destroyer. And that pretty much makes it my left-hand flank on this one. In the center is where most of my army is located at. On the left-hand side, that is a unit of 5 Ogre Bulls. Those guys are called the Storm Seekers. They got 5 Ogres with Standard Bearer as well as a Musician. They're packing hand weapons, light armor, as well as Iron Fist. And leading that unit is Shan Yu, the Fire Fist. He is my Fire Belly's level 2, Lore of Fire. He's got a Fireball as well as a Flaming Sword of Ruin spell. He's also packing a great weapon. He's also packing the Hell Heart as well. Right in front of them, right there on the right-hand side, that is my huge unit called Stankum's Legion. It is a unit of 10 Iron Guts. It's got full command, great weapons, as well as heavy armor. It's also packing the Dragonhide banner, which is always a good thing. Also in that unit of Stankum's Legion are 2 of my characters. First of all, we got Taijin Khan, the Right Fist of Hell. He is my general, who's also a Slaughter Master. He's level 4 Lore of the Great Maw. He's got Spy Marrow, Bullgorger, Toothcracker, and Troll Guts for his spells. He's also packing Iron Fist. He's got Fencer's Blades, giving him light weapon skill 10. Glittering Scales, giving him light armor save of 6 up, but a -1 hit against by my opponents, so they're hitting him on a 6 up. He's also got the Greedy Fist, which gives him a 6 up ward save and +1 to his strength, so he is kitted out to fight all kinds. And then right next to him is Korgold the Giant Breaker. He's my Bruiser. He's also my Battle Standard Bearer. He's also equipped with a hand weapon and heavy armor. He's got the Gold Sigil Sword, giving him a 10 up initiative, as well as a Enchanted Shield, giving him +1 armor save. He's also got the Giant Breaker Big Name, giving him +1 to his strength. The only downside is, of course, he can't refuse challenges. And then on the right hand side, that is a Red Rover, is a unit of 6 Ogre Bulls with Standard Bearer and Musician. They have hand weapons, light armor, as well as Iron Fists. And the back, I got my 2 rare choices. On the left-hand side, that is the Anvil of Hell. It is my Iron Blaster. And right next to him on the right-hand side, that is the Hammer of the Gods, my 2nd Iron Blaster. And finally, on the far right-hand side, all by his lonesome, is Mashaf, the Sorrow of the Steppe. He is my Stonehorn. His Ogre Rider is armed with a Ogre Beast Rider, who is equipped with a Harpoon Launcher. And that pretty much makes up my entire deployment for this one. So with deployment over with, we go directly to the top of turn number 1, and Brother Grimm and I roll off for initiative to see who will be going first. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 1, and the Orcs and Goblins managed to get the initiative on this one, so this photo is taken after the move phase. And as you see in this photo, Brother Grimm starts taking the advance on this one. He actually marches up several of his units, all of his Goblin units actually. He moves up the Snooky Gits on the left-hand side, as well as the Ludus, to move them up on the left-hand side, moving up their forward full 8 inches. At the same time, he does exactly the same thing with Undead Friend the Loon, moving up toward 12 inches, right between the ruin and the building there on the right-hand side. He also does the same thing with the Backstabbers, moving them up their full 8 inches as well. Now for his 2 Ogre units, though, Orc units rather, he doesn't decide to march off. He only moves up their normal 4-inch movement allowance is all he ends up doing. Just kind of keeping them at bay as well. Because, you know, Brother Grimm is smart. He knows I'm an Ogre Kingdom's army. I'm going to try to charge into him as quickly as I can. So he moves out just close enough to where you could countercharge but not receive the charge, which is actually a pretty good plan, all things considered. And that pretty much makes up his movement phase for this one. So here's a close-up of them sneaking gets as well as the Ludas moving up as quick as they can in order to engage my Mordheim Cav as well as my Lead Belchers. I have a sneaky suspicion he's planning on popping some Fanatics going that way, and that'd be absolutely terrifying. And here's a close-up of the Immortulz as well as the War Boys moving up, not as quickly as they possibly could, but at the same time, though, there's 80 Orcs I'm staring down the barrel down, armed with choppers and all kinds of bad stuff, so absolutely terrified of that. I am not going to lie about that. And finally, here's a close-up of them Backstabbers as well as Undead Friend the Loon as they march up over the right-hand flank as well. And that pretty much makes it the move phase on this one. So with the move phase over with, you go directly to the magic phase. So during the magic phase, Brother Grimm actually had a pretty successful magic phase on this one. The first one he casts off, of course, is Gift of the Spider God that gives him a bonus to poison attacks to the Ludas. They already have poison attacks because of the Spider Banner. They usually cause poison attack walls of 6 up, but because it got the Gift of the Spider God, it actually drops to 5 up now. So these guys have a 1/3 chance of landing poison attacks, which is absolutely terrifying when you think that 30 shots of shortbow fire could be coming at you with poison attacks, or in close combat, which is also equally terrifying as well. I let him get that spell off just because he's out of range to use his bows at this point, and plus I knew he was trying to pull out some of my Dispel dice anyways. I'm trying to keep him reserved because he does have some dangerous spells. He does have the Foot of Gork as well as the Hand of Gork as well that I really want to make sure they don't get off, so I just kind of keep my Dispel dice together for that part. However, Brother Grimm does manage to get the boosted version of Hand of Gork off, which allows him to teleport a unit 5d6 inches anywhere on the battlefield. And as you can see in this photo, he decides to move up Undead Friend the Loon and popping that giant right behind Mashaf, the Star of the Steppe, which is really bad for me because he could charge my giant in the back, or he could screw up my flanks or attack the rear of my army. So that part is absolutely terrifying. So that part really sucked, I don't mind telling you. However, to get that spell off, Brother Grimm did have to miscast, and he miscast 7 on that one.
Klaatu, Marada,
In the end, he did manage to lose 4 War Boys in the process of doing that, last 4 of his big ends, but let's face it, he's got a unit of like 40 Orcs. He has Orcs for days, so not much really bad actually happens from that. It does end his magic phase prematurely though, because all of his power dice are sucked up. At the same time though, he did manage to get off that spell and manage to put a giant in my rear ranks, which is always a terrifying prospect to face against. So because of that, we go directly to the top of Auto Turn 1 for the Ogre Kingdoms, and this photo is taken after the move phase. Because all his forces marched up, they couldn't shoot, plus his Doomdiver catapults were way off base, so that leads it right up to me. And the very first thing I do, of course, is I decide to march up a couple of my Saber Tusks within range for him to pop his Fanatics, so that way those guys come jumping out. So I send Rohana, the Blood Tracker, to the left-hand side, and Dolkana to the Destroyer directly towards the Ludas. Now, luckily for me, though, the Fanatics didn't manage to get my Saber Tusk on the right-hand side. They popped right in front of the Ludas, which kind of locks down his left-hand flank, which is always a good thing. And I did exactly the same thing with his Fanatics on the left-hand side. However, one of them managed to slip through and managed to kill Romana, the Blood Tracker, so that part was kind of sad. So after I got done marching all that stuff, I decided to kind of do some dramatic movement for the remainder of the turn. First thing I decided to do is I decided to do 180 with Mashaf the Destroyer, Mashaf the Star of the Steppe. He goes 180 to face off against Undead Friend the Loon because, let's face it, what's better than watching an unstoppable force meeting an immovable object? We'd like to see exactly what happens when those two monsters clash it out. Everything else just kind of marches, just kind of moves up gingerly. I don't really march up anything. I just kind of move everything up there in normal moon allowance. I move up my Beast Claw Bears left-hand side so that way they can just like sweep the leg and hit the left-hand side of the goblins, just work my way down the entire ranks to his orcs. At the same time, I also move up the Powder Gangers so that way they're within range and fire with their Lead Belcher guns. Same thing with the Storm Seekers as well as the Red Rovers. I also kind of tilt my Iron Blasters from the Hammer of the Gods as well as the Anvil of Hell so that way they can start taking out targets at distance. And at the same time, I just keep Stankum's Legion exactly where they're at, because my plan is that if my opponent decides to countercharge, I can intercept his Orc units with my Ogre Bulls, and then countercharge with my guys from Stankum's Legion, and hopefully take them apart that way. That's pretty much the plan I'm going with on that one. So here's a close-up with the Beast Claw Raiders. Moving go forward a little bit so that way they can get off a good flank charge off onto those sneaky gits. At the same time, you can see Roman the Blood Tracker being turned into red smushy paste by a Goblin Fanatic. And there's a close-up of the Powder Gangers, as well as Dolkana the Destroyer, as well as my Anvil of Hell, as well as my Storm Seekers getting ready to getting put into position. And finally, here's a close-up of Stankum's Legion, as well as the Red Rovers, as well as the Hammer of the Gods and Mashaf, the Star of the Steppes, getting into position to do some blocking and do some fighting. So with the movement phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And in magic phase, once again, the evil-eyed, beady-eyed Snake of Destiny decides to look me straight in the eye and give me a double ones on my power totals.
Klaatu, Veranda,
Which basically means, of course, I pretty much have no magic phase whatsoever, and so the magic phase kind of ends kind of prematurely. I swear to God, this is like the only army that I have that actually this happens with. Every single time I play Ogre Kingdoms, I always roll double ones for my magic phase. It's the only army that happens with. Any other army I play, not a problem. But for whatever reason, Ogres just don't want to play with magical powers, I guess. It's kind of sad. But anyway, that's what happened for the magic phase. So the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And the shooting phase, I actually brought the thunder. My lead belchers just open up directly onto the Immortulz. I managed to kill 11 of those guys right off the bat. To just be honest with you guys, powder gangers are pretty dang powerful, especially if they can fire en masse. Originally I got off 36 shots with these guys, which is actually pretty good, all things considered. Managed to kill 11 orcs, which is pretty awesome as well. Unfortunately for me, though, these guys are black orcs, and black orcs are immune to psychology, which means they never panic. So because of that, these guys didn't go anywhere. They just kind of stay in the ground because, let's face it, black orcs don't break. I mean, that's just simple as that. However, I do kind of will them down by a quarter, so that's kind of nice. Makes them a little bit more vulnerable to combat. So, you know, I'll take what I can get at this point. At the same time, I also open up with both the Anvil of Hell as well as the Hammer of the Gods directly onto them backstabbers. Managed to kill 6 of those goblins, which was pretty nice as well. And the beautiful part about that, they were out of range of the Battle Standard Bearer and definitely out of the range of the General. So because of that, they failed their leadership test. They fell back, I think, something like 9 or 10 inches running backwards as well, which is kind of cool. Unfortunately, though, I just kind of flubbed my rolls for my cannonball bounces. I think I rolled like 1 or like a 2 inch and a 4 inches on it doing. Managed to kill only 6 of those guys. So, you know, they're running for the hills, which is kind of nice. But at the same time, though, they still have their fanatics. So, you know, still gotta deal with them, I guess. But with the shooting phase over with, there is no close combat because nobody charged. With that, we go directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Orcs and Goblins. Alright, so that takes us directly to the top of turn number 2 for the Orcs and Goblins, and this photo is taken after the move phase. As you can see in this photo, some dramatic movement has been done, all for sure. First of all, my opponent, Brother Grimm, decides to declare a charge with Undead Friend the Loon. I decided to accept the charge with Mashaf, the Star of the Steppes, so the drag goes crashing directly into my Stormhorn, which is all kinds of fun. At the same time, he also declares a charge with the War Boys, and those guys do an awesome hair-breaking, like, 11-inch charge going across the battlefield, smashing directly into the Red Rovers. And that part is not so great because if they manage to break through the Red Rovers or manage to break them or just destroy them, that'd be bad because then they could charge in the back of Mashaf, or they could charge directly into my Stankum's Legion, or it just could be all kinds of horrible if I'm not really careful. So that part's not so great. The good news, though, is that he tried to declare a charge with the Immortulz, but unfortunately for them, though, they failed their charge, were not able to make the distance because they only go forward, I think, 4 inches, I think is what they end up doing for the most part. So that part was kind of nice as well. For the rest of his army, though, for the rest of his units, he doesn't really move his goblins all that much. He moves them with their normal moon allowance, that way they can start doing some shooting. However, he does suffer from his fanatics. His fanatics just kind of go running all over the place. One of them bounces through the sneaky gets, managed to kill one of them. 2 of them go smashing directly into that standing stone. One of them managed to pass through the looters, managed to kill 4 of them. But, you know, considering how bad it could have been, I guess my friend got off lucky that way. At the same time, the backstabbers in the back bottom right-hand corner, they do rally, they turn 180, and continue to make their way directly into the battle. And that pretty much makes up the move phase on this one. So here's a close-up of those sneaky gets, getting ready to move up directly into my Mornfang calves, so that part's kind of interesting. Lost one of their goblins in the process because of fanatics, but you know, they're goblins. I mean, who really cares if they die, right? And here's a close-up of his center with the Eluders losing 4 more members of their little goblin posse because of, as you can see, a little fanatic there. He ran right through that unit, managed to kill a couple of guys. And here's a failed charge of the Immortulz trying to go directly into the Stormseekers, so that part's kind of nice. And here's a close-up of the War Boys charging directly into the Red Rovers, which is not as great. At the same time, you'll see Undead Fred and the Loon charging directly into Mashaf, the Star of the Steppe, which I'm actually kind of excited to see about that one. I want to see exactly what happens when my monster takes on a giant, so that should be interesting. And finally, here's a close-up of them backstabbers turning 180 and getting ready to get back into the fight again. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. So the move phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And during the magic phase, my buddy Brother Grimm actually had a pretty successful magic phase this time around as well. He managed to get Gift of the Spider God again off on the Ludus, so those guys have a 5-up poison attack, which is pretty good for them. I was able to dispel that one. I actually tried to dispel that one, actually. I just rolled like horrible stuff. I think I rolled like a 1 and a 3. So I was able to stop anything from that spell going off as well. He does try to cast Hand of Gork off on his units of the Immortulz. He does try to cast that spell off, but I sink all of my dice in order to stop that spell from going off because, I don't want to make sure these Black Orcs don't, show up somewhere they're not supposed to be at. And my opponent, Brother Grimm, only had 2 power dice left, but then I forgot. He has that spell, that cursed bound spell, the Locus of Gur. It's a 5-up bound spell that's bound to Grimgor Ironhide, and if you get that spell off, what ends up happening is it gives every Orc and Goblin unit within 12 inches +1 strength and +1 toughness. Oh my god, I totally forgot that he had that spell, and he casts it with the last 2 power dice he has left, and he gets it off. So now everything within his army within 12 inches has +1 strength and +1 toughness. We're talking about a huge horde of strength 4, toughness 4 goblins, a massively huge horde of strength 5, toughness 5 black orcs. Plus, they also get chopper rules for the very opening rounds of comics in strength 6, which is absolutely terrifying. Not to mention the war boys, they're also strength 5 and toughness 5, +1 with their chopper rules, giving strength 6. Oh my god, it's so bad that he got that spell off, but it actually was so amazing that he did because it's going to work out so well for him. So anyways, that's what ended up happening. He managed to get the Locus of Gur spell off, which is absolutely horrible for me. Great for him, but not so great for me. So with the magic phase over, we go directly to the shooting phase. And the shooting phase. Actually got off pretty lucky on this one. Managed to lose 3 wounds onto my units of Mournfang Cav. He opens up with those sneaky gets, but the sneaky gets wasn't able to do anything. However, he did fire his Doomdiver catapult into it, and that's what actually caused the 3 wounds. But 3 wounds directly onto my guy, so that part was kind of sad. The real sorrow, though, took place when the Ludas opened up with their short bows directly into my powder gangers. Managed to kill 3 powder gangers all by themselves, mainly from poison attacks. You would not believe the amount of 5s and 6s my opponent rolled when he rolled a hit. Oh my god, those poison attacks are so horrific. Managed to kill 3 of my powder gangers right off the bat, causing 12 wounds. Luckily for me, though, I did pass my panic check because I was within range of my general as well as my battle standard bearer. But oh my god, it was just insane to see the number of poison attacks that he gets off with their short bows, so that part was kind of sad. And the coup de grace was actually when another Doomdiver catapult got launched directly into Stankum's Legion, managed to hit my unit and cause 6 strength 5 impact hits, and he wounded all 6 times, and I failed my armor save all 6 times. It was horrific. It was so bad. The reason why is because, Doomdiver catapults you don't get no armor saves from, so he just tore right through 2 of my ogres. It was super, super bad, and I forgot how terrifying Doomdiver catapults can be, especially if they manage to hit you. So yeah, that part was uber sad. I don't mind telling you that. So with the shooting phase over, we go directly to the combat phase. So here's a picture of the combat phase. If you notice, something is missing in this photo. I'll give you guys a couple seconds to figure out if you can figure out what's missing. Give up? That's right, it's my Stormhorn. Shot the start of the step. He was on the battlefield a moment ago. The question is, where did he go? Where did he possibly go? Well, here's the situation. This is what ended up happening. What ended up happening is that my opponent decided to roll up on the big things table, and he rolled Yell and Ball, which means that all he does, the giant does, is just kind of roars in your face and spits at you at the same time, which means he automatically wins combat by 2 points for his combat res. You take those 2 points of combat res, plus you add the 1 point that he gets for charging, and also keeping the fact that I'm not within range of my general. And what ends up happening is that Mashaf, the star of the steps, his leadership of 8 drops down to a leadership of 5 only. So because of that, I have to take a break just to see if my poor boy stays or flees. Unfortunately for me, though, I fled. I think I fled back like 4 inches, I think is what I ended up running back, and he pursued me like 11. So because of that, Undead Friend of the Loon just kind of chops down and destroys Mashaf, the star of the steps, as he steps over his cold corpse. And he overruns directly into the Hammer of the Gods, which is absolutely atrocious. And just like that, I lost my monster in one fell swoop. So that part was pretty terrifying. And over here, the combat between the Red Rovers and the War Boys. Oh my god, it was so bad. It was so bad. We go exactly the same time because both of our armies have initiative, slow. So I do manage to kill 4 War Boys. Now you might be thinking, well, Commander CheapSkate, aren't you strength 4 with stomp attacks and all this wonderful stuff? Normally you'd be absolutely right, but then again, these War Boys got hit with the Locus of Gur ability, so these orcs are now strength 5, toughness 5, and when they strike back at you, they have strength 6 because of the chopper rules. So as you can see in this photo, they kill 3 of my Red Rovers just right off the bat. Managed to cause 9 wounds. Now I do get my 4 wounds for my for killing the 4 orcs, which is kind of nice, but he still beats me 5 points. Not to mention he also charges, so he beats me by 6. He's also got 2 ranks, which means he beats me by 8. 8 points total. And my general is like right within range too, and he's only got like a leadership of 9. So because of that, I only have leadership 1, which means I have to roll Snake Eyes to keep these guys from running. Unfortunately, I don't run Snake Eyes, so because of that, I have to break and flee.
Retreat! Retreat!
And I try to flee. I do actually roll a very respectable 8 inches, which is pretty awesome. But my opponent, when he rolled to see exactly how far I pursued, he rolled a 10. So because of that, the War Boys' just run down was left the Red Rovers, destroy them all, and overrun directly into Stankum's Legion. Caught my guys right there in the corner as well. He was just barely like a half-inch away from landing directly into the Hammer of the Gods, which would have made it totally invalidated. But he was half an inch away, and he charged directly into my Stankum's Legion. So just like that, Stankum's Legion is now engaged in close combat, and things are slowly falling apart for me in the battle plan. So that pretty much makes up that combat phase. So with the combat phase over with, we go directly to the bottom of turn number 2 for the Ogre Kingdoms. So here's the bottom of turn number 2 for the Ogre Kingdoms, and I decide go for broke time. I decided to go YOLO and decided to commit is what I decided to do. So the first thing I do is I declare a charge with my Beast Claw Raiders to go directly into those sneaky gets. I do the same thing with Dolkana the Destroyer. I actually have my Saber Tug charge directly into the Ludas just to keep those guys occupied for a turn. I mean, I have no illusions of them surviving, but that's what, you know, that's what Chaff does. They kind of tie things up for a little bit. At the same time, I also decided to charge in the Anvil of the Gods. It goes tearing across the battlefield, smashing Anvil of Hell rather. Goes tearing across the battlefield, goes smashing directly into the mortals. So that was cool. I also charge in the Storm Seekers, who go tearing across the battlefield and smashing directly into the Immortulz, which is also awesome. And I do exactly the same thing with the Powder Gangers. So now all 3 units are now engaged in close combat with the Immortulz. So that part was pretty awesome as well. And then of course at the top, as you can see there, Undead Fred and the Loon are still engaged with the Hammer of the Gods, and the War Boys are still engaged in close combat with Stankum's Legion. So here's a close-up of my Mornfang Cavalry from the Beast Claw Raiders going directly into the sneaky gets, and I'm looking forward to that because crushing goblins between hooves of giant flesh-eating monster things is just really, really awesome. And here's a close-up of all 3 of my units charging directly into the Immortulz, and I gotta be honest with you, I think my opponent still has this because he's got +1 strength and +1 toughness, but I gotta do something, otherwise I'm gonna lose, so that's the voice of desperation talking. And finally, here is a close-up of the War Boys charging directly into Stankum's Legion as well. So with that being said, of course, we skipped the magic phase on my photos because unfortunately for me, I had a really low power dice result. I think I rolled like 4 as it ended up happening, so needless to say, Brother Grimm had no problem displaying all my spells. So that part was pretty ridiculous as well. And since all my shooting units are currently engaged in close combat, we skip the shooting phase and we go directly to the combat phase. Alright, so it goes directly to the combat phase. As you can see in this photo, my Beast Claw Raiders had no problem destroying those sneaky gets to the very last man. It was awe-inspiring. Between the normal attacks, impact hits, normal attacks from both the Mornfang as well as from my Ogres, as well as the Stomps, I had no problem just destroying that unit right off the bat, so that part was kind of nice. So instead of running through, I decided to test the Restrain. I do, and I changed position real quick with the Combat Reform, so that way I can charge directly into the left-hand flank of the Ludas. Needless to say, the Ludas had no problem whatsoever killing Dolkana the Destroyer. I mean, the number of poison attacks those guys get off is just absolutely awe-inspiring, so that part was kind of crazy. However, the real bloodbath, oh my god, the real bloodbath took place here, right here. It was so bad. It was really bad, I don't mind telling you. What ended up happening is that, well, this is what ended up happening. The Immortulz killed off 3 of my Powder Gangers, so that part was pretty rough. They also killed 3 of my Storm Seekers, so that was horrific as well. And at the same time, they also managed to put 3 wounds directly onto my Anvil of Hell as well. And the reason why is because these Black Orcs are at Strength 5, Toughness 5, and he decided to attack with dual weapons for his front rank, so those guys get additional attack. And those guys are at Strength 6 because they got the chopper rules. So you can see that they just kind of chopped apart my guys. In response, I was able to kill 5. Yeah, I managed to kill 5 of those guys. And that was all that needed to be said about that. 5 total. I think it was like 1 from my Powder Gangers. I think 2 from my... I think 2 of them were from the Storm Seekers. No, 3 of them from the Storm Seekers. Yeah, that's what it was. No, I'm sorry. It was 1 from my Lead Belchers. I apologize. 1 from my Lead Belchers. 3 from my Storm Seekers because of the Fiery Breath from my Fire Belly. And then 1 guy got killed by my Anvil of Hell. That's what ended up happening. It was 1, 3, and 1. That's what ended up happening. Needless to say, I lost this battle for by a landslide by my opponent.
Retreat! Retreat! Let's get the hell out of here!
And unfortunately, all 3 units failed their break test and had to flee. The Storm Seekers got away by an inch. I managed to escape by an inch. I ran away 8 inches of those guys. The Immortulz pursued 7 inches when they ended up doing. The Anvil of Hell, not so lucky. Got ran down and just slaughtered right off the bat. Same thing with the Power Gangers. They didn't get away very far either. They got chopped into pieces as well. So that's really horrific for me to be in this position because my Ogres are still breaking, which means because my next turn is my opponent's turn, if he decides to charge with the Immortulz and catches that unit, which is only an inch away, he can't fail it, he's going to destroy that unit as well and just murder everybody. So that part was just absolutely horrific, I don't mind telling you. And needless to say, combat over here on the right-hand side, Undead Friend Loon just absolutely just atomized and destroyed the Hammer of the Gods. He decides to overrun directly through it and hit directly into the right-hand flank of Stankum's Legion. And Stankum's Legion, I think, managed to kill 2 more. It was like 2 or 3 more of the War Boys, I think, was managed to kill, so that part was kind of nice. I think they killed 1 more of my Ogre Con, my Iron Guts, so that part wasn't so great. He does a quick combat reform, though, so that we can bring more to bear with my units, so there's that atrocity taking place. So I have a sneaking suspicion I'm not going to make it on this one. So with that takes directly to turn number 3 for the Orcs and Goblins. This photo is taken after the move phase. As you can see in this photo, my opponent decided to charge. He charged forward with the Immortulz, managed to catch the Stormseekers, and managed to slice those guys down to the last man and stops just an inch short of bumping directly into the War Boys. So that part was kind of crazy. At the same time, he also marches up the Ludas as well as the Backstabbers. The Backstabbers move up their full movement allowance, as well as the Ludas wing over to the left in order to face off directly against my Mornfang Cav, so that part's kind of nice. And the Fnax just kind of spin around in circles, hitting in random directions, not impacting anybody. And that pretty much makes the move phase on this one. So here's a close-up of the Ludas squaring off directly into my Mornfang Cavalry, so that should be interesting. I got to see exactly how my Beastclaw Raiders hold up against a huge horde of poison-attacked goblins. And here's a close-up of the Immortulz, who just ran down my Stormseekers like there's nobody's business, and they all got slaughtered to the last man. And finally, here's a close-up of the Backstabbers, who are moving as quickly as they possibly can across the battlefield to get some. So with the movement phase over with, we go directly to the magic phase. And the magic phase. Once again, Brother Grimm had a pretty successful magic phase. Managed to get 2 spells off, and the 2 spells that he wanted to get off were the ones that counted the most. First thing was able to do, I did manage to dispel, stop him from casting Gift to the Spider God, so that part was kind of nice. However, I was able to, he decided to put quite a bit of his dice directly into Foot of Gork, which I managed to cause a dispel on, so that part was nice. However, with the spell dice he had left over, he was able to use the Hand of Gork off on his Immortulz, so the Immortulz go teleporting all the way across the other side of Stankum's Legion, so now I'm getting stuck in a pincer attack, and to make matters worse, he gets off that cursed Locus of Gur spell off, which means that all these guys have +1 strength and +1 toughness again, which is absolutely atrocious, which is totally horrible, but that's how it works anyways. He gets his spells off, so that part was intimidating. So with the magic phase over with, we go directly to the shooting phase. And the shooting phase. His Ludas didn't shoot at me because they marched in order to wield in order to stop me. But his Doomdiver catapults, though, they were flying like no one was looking, and they just kind of smashed directly into my Mornfang Cav, killed off 2 of my Beastclaw Raiders, which is absolutely atrocious. It was absolutely horrible watching my guys get chopped to death. So that part happened. So needless to say, I had to take a break test, and
Retreat! Retreat! Let's get the hell out of here!
yep, they broke. I gave them the standard leadership, standard discipline. I gave them leadership 8, but they still broke anyways. And then so I wasn't within range of my general, wasn't in range of my Mal Standard Bearer, so they ran for the hills like their life depended on it, because it did. And that Mornfang Cavalry just absolutely disappeared on me, which is absolutely horrible. And at this point in the game, ladies and gentlemen, I decided to surrender at this point, because there's no way Stankum's Legion is going to survive against 2 massive hordes of orcs with our strength 5, toughness 5, and a giant in their flank. So as you can see there, ladies and gentlemen, there's nothing left of the Ogre Kingdoms. I got completely tabled on this one by opponent Brother Grimm, and we're going to go to the after action report, because this battle report is now officially over.
That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.
I thought about staying. They offered me the chance to lead them, to teach them, to be king.
Uh-huh.
But my place is here, so I swallowed the juice, said the words, and here I am.
Did you say the words right this time?
Well, maybe I didn't say every single tiny little syllable, no, but basically I said them, yeah. Basically.
Alright, now it's time for the after action report. This is the part of the battle report we talk about what went well, what went poorly, and what we can learn from the next time that we do battle. This is the after action report for the Golden Age, battle report number 77, and this one ended up being a face-stomping defeat for yours truly. My opponent scored 2,217 points from me, while I only scored 265 points from him. For my losses, I lost Shan Yu the Fire Fist, the Stormseekers, the Red Rovers, the Powder Gangers, the Beastclaw Raiders, the Romana the Blood Tracker, the Okana Destroyer, the Anvil of Hell, the Hammer of Gods, as well as Mashaf the Star of the Steppes. And as opposed to Brother Grimm, he only lost those sneaky gets, of 20 Night Goblins, and that was the only thing he lost in his entire army. Like I said before, I just got beat down bad. All kinds of badness just happened in this battle report. And that's because Brother Grimm did exactly what he was supposed to, and he did everything right this battle report. He placed his goblins on his flanks this time, allowing the center to attack my forces and to exploit my weaknesses there. At the same time, he also massively used the Hand of Gork spell, allowing him to teleport his giant, as well as his black orcs, and catch me in a triple envelopment, which is pretty crazy as well. He also shot apart my entire units with poison attacks from my shooting elements as well as my Mornfang cavalry, so that part was pretty crazy as well. And that's kind of like the beautiful part about playing an Orc and Goblin army. When they're good, I mean, they are like unstoppable. When orcs get their rhythm going, they just kind of destroy everything that lies in their path. However, when they're bad, they get destroyed. There is no middle ground when it comes to an Orc and Goblin army as well, so that part was kind of nuts. My problem, I really do believe my problem was that I was too hesitant in this battle. I'm playing Ogre Kingdoms. We don't really exactly rely on caution when it comes to our plans for Ogre Kingdoms, so I should have just charged in forward and got stuck in as quickly as possible. If I had done that, my opponent wouldn't be able to outmaneuver my own forces, and I would have survived this battle report. But either way you look at it, though, this was still a fantastic game against an awesome opponent, and as always, I am looking forward to the rematch. So that's good to do for the rest of you guys. As always, please feel free to like, comment, and or subscribe. Your guys' input is invaluable to us as always. Also check us out on Facebook, Instagram, as well as blogger.com for all the latest greatest hobby news related to this channel. That's good to do for this one, guys. We'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out and stay classy.